Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Last Stand Gamers, and welcome to Survival Secrets, the series that is designed to give you useful tips and tricks to aid you on your survival in Dayz. With the introduction of Dayz Standalone, we've got a lot more to get around, a lot more challenges to face, and a lot more structures and loot to get a head around. So today we're going to be talking about looting military structures. This is the MP building, or military police building, what I refer it to. Basically, it's got an upstairs and a downstairs and a small jail cell. It is extremely important because this is one of the buildings that can have the top end military loot and equipment. So let's actually talk about this first. When approaching this building, you're going to want to approach it in the blind spot. The blind spot is the front left hand side because from the back you can see out through the top and bottom floor windows. I want you to pay attention as well how my squad here is using a technique called bound in Overwatch. Each one of my squad members is moving to a separate mission. Let's look on the right here. You'll take consideration as he's covering us as we cross the road to actually open up the gate and actually provide cover for himself as well as us as we're opening and entering this danger zone. As we approach any front door, as I always say, it is the fatal funnel. It is the funnel of death, where someone could be waiting on the other side and kill you absolutely easy. And these railings on both sides of the door don't make it any easy for any attacker. So you want to move fast and you want to push in with all your firepower. Check the cells, then check the ground floor and make sure you've got someone ready to push up. These buildings are ideal for people who decide to server hop, and I think this is absolutely disgraceful, ruining this game with that sort of tactic. Hopping between server to server, and what will happen is if you don't watch your doors, you don't close the doors after you've been inside a room, a server hopper might come in and ruin your day. The same is when you're looting. Never spend longer than 4 minutes in here. That's why me and my squad always apply the 4-minute rule. Okay, so that'll give us 3 rooms in this building. There's a minute each room in case we have to reorganize our gear, and there's a final minute if we have to swap gear out between us. So that's the rule I always tend to stick to. On the staircase is a very good place to watch because it is an angle that you can get the drop on their enemy. But remember, there's 2 ways of watching it. You can either watch directly down the stairs towards the doorway that I prefer, or you can watch over the back where you can get a nice shot on the back of the player as they walk up. But be aware, they might try to use third person on you. So before we breach this room, we've actually stacked up, and you can notice we've got a problem here. And what's happened is someone stopped in the doorway. This is a crucial error. And a second thing that you want to avoid is getting a team with players that want to rush in and get all the loot. As you can see here, I don't even care about the loot in the room. I'm all about protecting the team's flank, and that's what you need to do. It's time to share out that loot after, and you don't want to be rushing around. So as we proceed out, we still need to keep an eye on the bottom floor in case anyone spawned in that period of time. You can notice how we've cleared the doors and closed them. So basically, only when we exit, the doors will fly open. So we're closing and exiting the doors, and the last man out always should close the doors behind him so to another player won't think anyone's been here for some time. So moving on, we're going to move on to the next structure, that is the barracks. This is one of the most dangerous buildings to actually be in because each room itself has a window, and the window can actually be used against you to be shot. The only safe room is the shower block, and I'll get onto that in a moment. So when you're approaching this building, the first thing you want to do is actually get up on a flank, get in a blind spot in one of them angles where the windows can't see you actually approach. So you can see here, approaching from this blind spot on this side, and I'm going to have a quick check on the windows. My squad mates are on the other side doing the exact same, and then I'm moving in to make entry. I'm waiting for the go off my team, so they've just sweep the other side of the building, and now one of my members over there is actually going to refill his water bottle very shortly. There you go, because he's got it clear. I've got a third guy watching the door behind me. And so, as you can see here, these are the actual individual rooms, and these are not a room you want to be trapped in. The shower block is perfect. If you get surrounded in this building, get in the shower block and hide in one of the cubicles, and somebody walks past you, take them out. Moving on to the hangar. The hangar is a building that not many people actually think is that important, but I find it is a great place to find optics and the odd bit of ammunition for your weapon. But of course, it has a massive big opening because it's used to store planes, and you're very exposed when in it. So a little technique that I've devised is when you're moving with a squad or you're moving by yourself is once you've looted it, use the technique of slicing the pie that I've covered before and cut that doorway into that narrow angle so you've got the most cover from it as possible. Moving on to the aircraft control tower. The aircraft control tower is once again a 3-story building with a very exposed top on it. But something to take into consideration is if there's someone holding the stairs, there is multiple ways of access to actually get to the top, and that door is permanently open. So as you can see, I'm approaching up the stairs. I've already got squad members in this room, but I want to talk to you. Say if someone was watching that stairs, pay attention. You've got that ladder on the right hand side that you could actually use to get up and get behind them and get the drop on that person who's watching that staircase. Another interesting spot is under the actual stairs themselves. There's a little hidey hole, and let's talk about going up top. So you can see we're up top, and for this demonstration I've just told everyone to clatter around and make a mess, but you don't want to actually stand up there for too long, and if you do go up, lie down, because every man and his dog is going to have some sort of sight trained on you. Obviously proceeding out of this building is just like any other. Seal the doors after you're done and off you go. So let's talk a little bit of a technique. You might find yourself always running around, like you're trying to get away from the coast, but you always circle back. So what I want you to do is grab your thumb, put it on an object in your room, and then close one eye. Okay, and then I want you to close the other eye, and I want you to tell me which eye is actually lined up with your thumb, and that is the way of finding your actual dominant eye. And if you're correct for this, you'll stop going around in circles. So let's talk about some of the firearms we've got here. We've got the 45 pistol. It takes around 8 shots to actually kill someone at close range, and with headshots it can take considerably less, of course. We've got the M4 carbine that has a number of attachments to improve it in different ways. Each attachment has its own little variable. Now, when you come to aiming your weapon, when you're in third person, first person, or aiming at the hip, you'll notice there's a variation of where you're actually aiming from where you're actually pointing the weapon in the hip aim or in third person, so you're going to need to take this in consideration. The field of view is also going to affect how far away from that point it will be. The setting of field of view will affect if the little dot's halfway, because one of my squad members reported that since his field of view was different, his aim was actually at the bottom of the screen, even though he aimed in iron sights at the doorway. So take that in consideration, and I'll see you next time.